السلام عليكم. ثم لأقصى الحلق همز هاء ومن وسطه فعين حاء. Then from the farthest part of the throat, okay, there's Hamzah and Ha. From the middle of the throat, there is Ain and Ha. Okay, so now we're looking at the throat letters. If you look at the throat, okay, there is three sections of the throat. There is here, look at the mouse, the vocal cords. There is the epiglottis. And there is the root of the tongue here. Okay, now here you can see it's saying it here. The farthest part of the throat is the articulation of Hamzah and Ha. That is from the vocal cords. The middle of the throat is the articulation of Ain and Ha. That is from the epiglottis here. The closest part of the throat is the articulation of Ghain and Kha. That's from the root of the tongue. There. Okay. Now, looking at them in more detail, if we look at Hamzah and Ha, as we said, from the farthest part of the throat to the area of the vocal cords there. The articulation of Hamzah and Ha, look. For non-voweled Hamzah, it's made by closing the vocal cords. Okay. Non-voweled means what? Sukoon. So if you say you end on sukoon, what you're doing is you're colliding. As we said before, the harakat are by separation of two organs, and sukoon is by collision. So if you can imagine any of the organs, they would collide in sukoon. Just the same as here in the vocal cords. The vocal cords collide to one point to make the sound for Hamzah as sukoon. As a haraka letter, they will start from here and they separate. Right? So they separate and then you get into the haraka itself. There's two articulations here, remember? There is the Hamzah itself, which is this part here. It separates from that into the articulation of Fatha, which is what? The articulation of Alif. Yeah? So Alif is the second articulation. Right? So the sound is Hamzah. Leave that, separate from it. That's Alif. So you separate to get to that second articulation. See? Okay. Now, when it comes to Ha, Ha in all cases is emitted by partially separating the vocal cords. Like, if you look at this thing, it's like partially separated like this. Not fully closed, like Hamzah, but it's partially separate. That whole one. Because if it was to close, it will make Hamzah. And being partially open means that it's not open enough to vibrate the vocal cords, which would make a voice. Like if I say, that's my vocal cords vibrating. If I now say, my vocal cords are partially open, so they're not vibrating, right, to make voice, but they're partially open to make this sound of ha. And then obviously you separate from that, and you then open more into Fatha, because Fatha is using voice. So you separate them from there to Ha, right? That is Hamzah and Ha. Okay. Bismillah.